Baruchim Abba, and welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha on Parshas Savo, the Haturim on Parshas Savo. If we may say that some of the Haturim on this week's Parsha, they're off the charts. So I want to share with you, let's begin Perek Chav Ches, Pasuk Yud. V'ra'u kol amei aretz, all the nations of the world will see, ki shem Hashem nikra alecha, that the name of God is called upon you. V'yaru mimeka, and they will be afraid of you. All the nations of the world will see that the name of God is called upon you, and they will fear you. The Gemara Brachas and the Vav Darshans, Elu Tefillin Shabaraish. This refers to the head tefillin. Now, what exactly is it about the head tefillin that inspires fear? We know that tefillin, there's an idea tefillin has the name of Hashem. Where is the name of Hashem on tefillin? So, one approach is the shin of the head, and the dalid of the knot, and the yud of the knot of the shalyad. But the Beis Yosef, and Or Chaim says that the shin itself is the name of Hashem. How's that? If you take Yud Kei Vav Kei, and you atbash the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which means you substitute first letter for the last, a Beis for a shin, a gimel for a kuf. So the Yud becomes the letter Mem. Hey becomes the letter Tzadi. Vav becomes the letter Pei. Hey becomes the letter Tzadi. Add up. Mem, Tzadi, Pei, Tzadi. 300. Shin! Shin is Yud Kei Vav Kei Atbash. The Shin alone is the name of Hashem. Furthermore, the Mekubalim teach that if you spell out Eloikim b'miluai, Aleph, Lamed, Pei, it's 111. Lamed Mem Daled, 74. Hey Yud, 15. Yud Vav Daled, 20. Mem, 80. Guess what you get? You get 300. So Elokim alone is also 300, is a Shin. So Shin is Shem Havaya and Shem Elokim. What's amazing is, if you take the Rashi Tevos, says the Haturim, V'ro kol amei aretz, ki Shem Hashem Nikra. Shem Hashem Nikra, Rashi Tevos Shin. This alludes to what we just learned, that the Shin alone encompasses the name of Hashem. Now, for this week's offering, I want to discuss the Teichacha and the Haturim on the Teichacha. In Perek Chav Ches, Pasuk Samach Aleph, the Haturim tells us how many curses are there in this week's Parsha. The Haturim says that there are 98 klalois in the Teichacha. This is taught by Rashi in Parshas Pinchas, that the 98 kvasim, that Klal Yisrael are makriv on the 7 days of Sukkos, 14 times 7, protect us from the 98 klalois of the Teichacha. Well, says the Haturim, the 98 curses of the Teichacha are alluded to in the words Perek Chav Ches, Pasuk Samach Aleph, Gam Kol Chali, every illness. Every illness is Gematria 98. Those are the 98 klalois of the Teichacha. Now there are 98 klalois in the Teichacha. How many words are in the Teichacha? There are 676 words in the Teichacha. What's the significance of that? What's the meaning of that? Rav Meir of Parmeshlan brings an incredible medrash. The medrash says, Rabbois ra'ois tzaddik, there are many evils that befall the tzaddik, that refers to the klalos of the Teichacha, umikulam yatzilenu Hashem, and from all of them God saves us. What does Rabbois ra'ois tzaddik have to do with the Teichacha? And what does it mean, umikulam yatzilenu Hashem? So I want to share with you a tshuva of the Radvaz. The Radvaz, in his Likutim on Biurei HaTorah Siman Tavshin Samach Tes, the Radvaz is bothered by the following question. If you look at the Teichacha in B'chukaisai, we find that Teichacha has much consolation, much divrei nechama, many words of consolation. And yet, if you look at the Teichacha in this week's Parsha, there's no consolation at all. Why was no consolation given for the Teichacha in this week's Parsha? After all, the Teichacha in this week's Parsha is much more severe. It's 98 curses. Well, the Radvaz says that the Zohar himself asked this question, and the Zohar says, on the words Gam Kol Choili V'Chol Maka Yalim Hashem, Yalim is a lashon of Ha'alama. God will hide them. However, that seems to be very difficult because afterwards the psukim seem to indicate that this refers to Hashem bringing the Teichacha on us, not hiding it from us. And therefore the Ravaz says a very important answer, an amazing answer. That if you look in the Teichacha in Parshas B'chukaisai, we don't see Hashem's name appear that often. But in the Teichacha in this week's Parsha, Hashem's name appears throughout the Teichacha. Yitain Hashem, Yakecha Hashem, Yitzav Hashem. God's name appears, Yoilech Hashem, again and again and again. The Rebbeinu Shalom's name, Tachas Levadta Es Hashem, Yisa Hashem. Hashem's name appears again and again and again. And therefore, since Hashem's name appears, in the context of the name of Hashem, that itself is a nechama, that itself is a consolation. In fact, if you look in the Haturim, Perek Chavches, Pasuk Samaches, how many times does Hashem's name appear in the Teichacha? 26 times God's name appears in Shemona Esrei to protect us from the 26 names of the Teichacha. God's name appears in the Teichacha 26 times. Amazing. So what's the significance of that? What is the meaning of God's name being mentioned 26 times in the Teichacha? So there's an idea as follows, that the greatest disasters occur when we dismiss our troubles and we dismiss our punishment and we say it's mikra and we say it's keri, it's just happenstance. But at least if we have the recognition that it's coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that itself is a nechama because that will allow us to do tshuva. In fact, even though we mentioned that there are 98 klalos in the Teichacha, the Kli Yakar in Parshas Nitzavim, he actually says that Rashi indicates that there are 100 curses in the Teichacha. Rashi in Parshas Nitzavim says that Moshe Rabbeinu told Klal Yisrael, Atem Nitzavim Ayom Kolchem, because he saw Klal Yisrael were despondent, demoralized, Pnei Moirikos, their face had turned sallow. And they said, how can we stand up to these klalos? So Moshe said, don't worry. You angered God so many times and you're still alive and kicking, you're still around. Don't worry, you will thrive and survive. But the lashon of Rashi is, what's the connection between Nitzavim and the Teichacha? Says Rashi, when Klal Yisrael heard 100 klalos minus 2. 100 klalos minus 2, after, besides the 49 of B'chukaisai, their face turned white. So the Kli Yakar asks, why does Rashi call it 100 minus 2? It's 98 curses. Furthermore, why didn't the 49 curses in Parshas B'chukaisai scare Klal Yisrael? Only the 100 minus 2 in Kisavai? So Kli Yakar says, actually, the 49 curses in B'chukaisai didn't scare us because we know what they were. And if God says, I'll bring a flood, we'll say to ourselves, okay, we'll build a boat. And if God says, invaders will attack us, so we'll get armor to defend ourselves. So the 49 in B'chukaisai didn't scare us. And even the 98 in B'chukaisai didn't scare us. What scared us were the minus 2. Because besides the 98 klalos mentioned in this week's Parsha, there are another 2 that are unspecified. And they are Kol Choili V'Chol Maka Asher Lo Yikoso B'Sefer HaTorah. These are 2 unspecified curses. And says the Kli Yakar, since we don't know what they are and they're unspecified, we have no way to defend ourselves from it. We have no way to protect ourselves from it. So in reality, the Kli Yakar says there are 100 curses in this week's Parsha. 98 we know about, 2 we don't know about. Ooh, this would explain a very mysterious comment of the Kasnais Ar. That in fact, the 100 brachos we make a day protect us from the 100 klalos of the teichacha. What? I thought there are 98 klalos of the teichacha. No, they're 98 plus 2. Comes the Chidah, and the Chidah in the Pesach Enayim Amenachos Mem Gimel Amud Beis says, remarkably, that we have 98 brachos d'Rabbanan, 2 brachos d'Oraisa. The 98 brachos d'Rabbanan protect us from the lower level curses of the 98 curses. But we have 2 curses that are superpower curses, that we can't protect ourselves because we don't know what they are. Those were protected from by Berchas HaMazon and Berchas HaTorah, the 2 brachos that are d'Oraisa. So we see that making brachos and being cognizant of the name of Hashem, that protects us greatly from the teichacha. And that in fact is the consolation of the teichacha. As the Baal Haturim says, 26 times in the teichacha, God's name is mentioned. Says Rameir mi Parmeshlan, Rabbis, Rois, Tzaddik, many evils before the Tzaddik. How many? Rois. Rois is Gematria 676, the number of words in the Teichacha. Rabbis, Rois, Tzaddik, many evils before the Tzaddik. Umikulam, but from all of them, Yatzilenu Hashem, the name of God protects us. The 100 brachos a day protects us from the 100 curses. The 98 brachos Rabbanan protect us from the 98 curses that we know what they are. The 2 brachos d'Oraisa protect us from the 2 curses that we don't know what they are. And as the Radvaz said, the fact that Hashem's name appears throughout the Teichacha, that's the consolation. How many times does God's name appear in the Teichacha? 26. God's name itself is numerically valued at 26. What's 26 times 26? 676. Rabbis, Rois, Tzaddik. There's 676 words in the Teichacha that could befall a Tzaddik. Umikulam, and from all of them, Yatzilenu Hashem, the name of God protects us. The 26 mentions of God's name, which each one is numerically valued at 26, protects us from the curses of the Teichacha. Rabbi Sai, this is a remarkable remez. Rabbis, Rois, Tzaddik, Umikulam, Yatzilenu Hashem. The 26 mentions of Hashem's name in the Teichacha, 26 times 26 protects us from the 676 words of the Teichacha. May Rebbeinu Shalom protect Klal Yisrael from all klalos, from all peraniyos, from all pegoyim ra'im, and only shower on us, Be'ezus Hashem, in the upcoming year. Bracha v'hatzlacha should be neskayim banu umikulam yatzilenu Hashem. Wishing everyone a wonderful rest of the week and a great Shabbos kisavei haba aleinu l'taiva.